Hello, champions, and my social media family. Welcome back to Creating a Seat at the Table. I am Denise, your host. Many of you know me as the former Miss Please from Real Talk Radio. I hosted for 4 years and I had a YouTube channel, and I'm an unorthodox radio personality. Our show is about assorted topics from family, marriage, education, kids, politics, spirituality, mortgage and finances, relationships, and yes, relations. I said it. How's your love life? We talk about your job, your income. We talk about all things taboo. So if you're uncomfortable, let's have those real conversations and start getting comfortable. As we delve in to our segment, you will hear success stories from those skilled in their craft, as well as opportunities learned along the many journeys shared. We may share tears, frustration, aha moments, and moments that just bring out every emotion from compassion to defensiveness. Our Her Story segment is a 6-part series. Listen to us every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And today's episode is sponsored by my coaching company, DeniseBowles.com. We offer easy to follow, cutting edge approaches to gaining leadership momentum from the entry level to top level leadership. So today's guests are Waconda and LSW, and Stephanie, who is earning her master's degree in business administration with an emphasis on human capital, and a professional. This is one of our Her Story women segments, and we will talk about women and the men who are willing to learn with the intent to accept. We'll discuss topics about the passions that drive them and the support that fails them. So, welcome today to our show. Our topic is wonderful, isn't it? Our topic is just great. Our topic is it's not over, it's just the beginning. So, welcome, Waconda and Stephanie. Thank you for tuning in to our show.
Thank you for having us.
Wonderful, wonderful. So either one of you start, tell our audience and our viewers a little bit about you.
Waconda?
I am a licensed social worker who is currently working on my hours to be clinical. I have clinical studies. I have studied at the University of Louisiana and also at Indiana Wesleyan. And I'm just here to help with the topic today.
Awesome. Thank you. And Stephanie, welcome.
Hi, thank you again for having me. Again, my name is Stephanie. I'm so excited for this invitation. I am currently pursuing, of course, my degree in business administration with an emphasis on human capital. And I hope to be an entrepreneur one day soon. I'm working on it already. And I look forward to today's discussion. It sounds exciting.
Awesome. I'm excited. So let's just delve in. So we're talking about it's not the end, it's just beginning. How often do we find ourselves as women recreating and starting over?
You know, Denise, the average adult, I think I read a statistic, starts their career over 8 times. So each time we start a new career, we're reinventing ourselves. And so it's exciting. I just accepted a new position with a large corporation that I've been with for some time now, and I'm learning every day. And then I go home and go to school and learn some more. So it's awesome to recreate and reinvent ourselves.
Congratulations on that. 8 times? Oh my gosh. I real fast because I want kind of be able to answer also, but I have to tell our listeners 8 times. So that means every time a person loses their job or starts a new job, it's not a failure. It's a new opportunity. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Waconda.
I'm thinking as women in today's society, with all of our roles, we are recreating ourselves, not just each time we get a new position or start a new career. We reinvent ourselves daily, because at this moment I am mommy. At another moment I am student. At a different moment, well, I'm a professional. So throughout our day, we go through different roles and we maintain those roles throughout our lifespan. But as a student who actually started going to school after all her children were out of the house, when I was empty nesting, it was certainly a different way to do life. Normally we go to school first, then we have our family and and start our careers. I did it a little bit backwards, but I think it was just right on time for me. So there's something about being a student as a mature individual. I think your appreciation grows for it. I think you soak in more of the experience. You're definitely tuned in to what it is you're trying to learn. Whereas maybe as a younger student, I was more concerned with the social aspect of school. So it's definitely different when you start later on in your years.
I would have to say yes. I feel like I started school and I've never stopped. And one of the things that I hear a lot about women is they feel like they're too old or they're out of the game. Even if they're not too old, they're just out of the game. You know, with people losing their jobs and all they know how to do is, I don't know, clean hotel rooms. And now they're out of a job and there's no hotel rooms to clean. There's no rooms to clean. You know, they feel like there's nothing I can do. And unemployment is hard to get. What else can I do? What are your thoughts and suggestions to our listeners?
Definitely, I think you need to sit and see where your strengths are. When providing counseling for individuals in this way, I always say, work to your strengths. See what you're good at already. It's kind of like the old adage: if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. If you're working to your strengths, it's not a struggle to get up and go to work every day. So that's what I suggest. See what you're good at, and then try to find something, a career around what your strengths are, because you're going to naturally do well in those areas.
Well, thank you. So I know, Stephanie, you want to answer also, and then I've got a question to spin off of what was just said.
Wakanda talked about, playing off your strengths and, going back to school, 40 something, it is different. I also have to say that I have a learning disability, so I'm dyslexic. And so sometimes I don't feel like I have any strengths. Sometimes I feel like everything that I do is a struggle. But you know what? We're women. And sometimes we just put one foot in front of the other. And before we know it, we're looking back and we have the cap and the gown on, and we're walking across the stage and we say, oh my God, I don't know how we did it. But you know what? We do it. And so learning AP style or, online because of COVID and having to learn Blackboard or just the different techniques and what is expected of a graduate student versus someone that's an undergraduate student and somebody that hasn't been an undergraduate student in a long time, it has its challenges, but we can do it. We just put one foot in front of the other.
I love that, because that's that one foot, right foot, left foot thing. Just put one foot first and then the second foot. So what I gather from some of the people that I've vetted, some believe that just because you have strength in something, that doesn't mean that you're good at it. That doesn't mean that they just don't see the value. And I think it's those A-type personalities that just are so, not narcissistic. I don't know.
Nonchalant, just nonchalant. Like, it just comes to me.
Yes.
Some people, they drive me crazy because I work for it. So they don't, you know what, they inspire. Sometimes I know some people where they make it look like it's like that, but I know that they were up all night writing that paper just like I was, or they were up all night working on that project just like I was. But that's where the grace and the dignity you know, how we carry ourselves, that swag we might talk about, you know, that the men have comes into play, where we make you think that it was easy, but it wasn't. We worked hard for those things. And so yeah, I think that's gonna be my theme for the night. Just keep putting that one foot in front of the other one, baby.
So how does that?
Absolutely, absolutely. So when you're looking at your strengths, it's a jump off point. So you look at your strengths and you say, hey, you know, I'm maybe good at organizing, or my strengths are in cooking. So you look at those things and then you build those skills. So maybe you want to go to culinary school to build on that strength. Or maybe you want to be, I don't know, you want to organize closets or something to that nature. But you start with where your strengths are, and then you build skills to help you in that area. So yes, going to school, getting some type of degree, or, you know, university is not for everybody. You can still build your strengths in a trade school. You can get certificates. So it doesn't always take years and years and years of education to get where you need to be. But what you do need to do is look at where you are and where you want to be in the next 5 years and make a plan. Plan out how you're going to get there.
I think that's a shortfall for a lot of us.
And so it's really important. So
oh, I'm sorry. The camera froze. Sorry. I think that's a shortfall because a lot of us don't look at where we're at. We just look at where we want to be, and we forget those small milestones, those small victories, those small fails that help us build. But Stephanie, you said something that was very profound, is that as women, we make things look really easy. And I know for fact, after doing few of the interviews for my men's segment, that we look at men and we look at where we're at, and we do things graceful. And I hear women say it all the time. Oh, if a man he would never survive childbirth. You know, a man can't change the diapers and clean the house and do the laundry and run to the cleaners and do the lawn and make the bed and clean the bathroom and cook and clean for the kids. And then when I come home, you know, hold it down with a smile, you know?
Right.
I think you pointed on that.
And we do. We just make it happen because we have to. Most women, you know, of course, the man is the head of the house. We're the backbone, baby. We are the backbone, right? And so all those little things that, you know, people don't even think about. You know, my daughter, I have a daughter who's 23, and I remember when she moved out of the house, and I said, there's some things I want you to know. Toilet paper and toothpaste is not just going to appear now, you know? But our families just know that toilet paper and toothpaste just appear, right? No, they don't appear. Mama looked in there and saw that, you know, we were running out, and she made sure that those things were there. So we just, you know, we just pick up on those little things, and we grow, and we've been taught those. And, you know, I thank God for my heritage, and I have a family and a mother and aunties and uncles and cousins and grandparents who taught me. You know. In fact, when I see that the toothpaste is out, I don't need to go to the store, right? When the pandemic hit, I didn't have to rush out too crazy because it's always another tube of toothpaste in there when that one runs out, because that's how it was taught, right? That Colgate is on sale, you buy 2 of them, right? So that you don't have to worry. And that's just that planning part of being a woman that we have. And so it may look easy, but it's a process that we hone over our lifetime.
I love it. I love it. So Waconda, your background is in social work. How could we speak to the women who are out there? And there's some women that do not have the strength. They feel like it's over. And, you know, I love this topic because it's not over. It's the beginning. It's the beginning. We're like phoenixes. We recreate all the time. Like Stephanie said, 8 times in a lifetime. how could you help us understand and support those women and men who struggle?
So the main thing is nobody goes through this life without help. A lot of times women feel like we have to be strong and do it on our own, but that's not necessarily true. You create a network, and people think a network is so many people. No, a few close people you can depend on when stuff goes south. So when you start creating your support networks. And initially, it may not be really close friends. Initially, you might join a group, a support group, and these people are your network. And so it's really important, first of all, to get support so that when you're in those moments where you feel down, you can go and talk to someone, have them just be your sounding board and give you support and encourage you through those moments. It's really important.
So how do we find, I know not all families are tight knit. I know you can create your network, your tribe, your village. How can someone who's an introvert build that, create that? Because I have to tell you a funny story. When my daughter, we moved to the state, my daughter started school and she couldn't find a friend at all. And it just broke my heart. She had no friends for the first 2 weeks. And so one day in class, two girls in front of her were talking, and she said, she tapped on the desk and they ignored her. And she tapped on the desk again. She's like, hey, excuse me. And the girl turned and looked at her and was like, what? She's like, you're going to be my friend. She's like, whatever. and and she turned back around and she said, hey, and she tapped on the desk and she's like, I'm talking to you. You're going to be my friend, you know? And that just sticks with me when I see people. It's like, just talk to them. Not everybody can talk.
Right. It's certainly very brave of her to do. Not everybody can be that forward, but if you can, great. If it works for you, work it. But if it doesn't, there are mothers groups where you can join. There are support groups for just about everything. There is a resource here in Nevada. You can either dial 211 or you can go online, 211.com, and you can source places where you can find support groups. It has so many resources. Food, if you need shelter, if you need to find a good daycare, all the human services you can find. So you can source what's here in Nevada on that site. So if anybody's looking, check there. That's where I would start. You can also check in your local churches, at local community centers also sometimes have support groups. So there's several resources that are right there in your community that can put you in touch with someone that you can connect with.
Denise, can I speak on this?
I was going to ask you, you just relocated. You mentioned that you just got promoted. So did you relocate in the same area? Did you move? Did you travel across the country? What did you do? What was your experience? Please comment.
Well, I just moved from California to Nevada, and it's COVID, so I'm not out much. And so I haven't started to build my social circle here. But I have to tell you, this is my advice. Don't limit the people you look at to be your social circle. So there was a time in my life where I was struggling and I didn't have the type of friends that I wanted in my life. And I happened to be at the place where I worship, and this older lady came up to me, and she had lost her daughter in essence. And so I became her daughter, and she became one of my best friends ever. And I just love and adore her. But the wisdom from somebody who's old enough to be my grandmother, but who's my friend, it's amazing, you know? And I what I found is I really love having older friends. And so what we ended up doing, I ended up with a group of older friends and Tuesdays on my lunch break, we would play cards every Tuesday. And they would bring me lunch because they knew it was my lunch break. The wisdom, as I transitioned into different points in my life and I became an empty nester. And I, at that point in my life, I had just started a new career and it was a very male dominated career. And I was like, what do I do? And I and not only did I open it to older ones, but then there were ones of different backgrounds and nationalities and experiences, and the advice that I got from each one was a little bit different, and it was amazing. So I just encourage those who are looking for people to be part of their group to stand with, to look at people that you might not expect, because you will find wisdom in young ones, and you will find wisdom in old ones, and different colors and different backgrounds and different employments, and just all different types. Some were married, some were widowed, some were divorced. Wow. And I gained strength from each one. So widen your circle. That's my advice.
I love that, because the millennials used to be a fear factor for me and so many others. And it wasn't so much as a fear, like you're afraid of them. It's just that they were the unknown, so to speak. And so, now that I have millennials, I go to them all the time and I'm like, hey, what does this mean? And I'm like, let me run this past you and let me tell you. And I have to tell you, millennials are blunt. They're just like, that's dumb.
Last week I was at work, Denise, and this young man called me a goat. And I said,
that's good.
I said, you called me a what? And he said, you're the goat. And I wasn't very happy. And I just kind of played it off because I didn't quite know what it meant. And, that's how you're kind of getting older. And so I pulled out, I said, okay, Google, he called me a goat. What is that? And it said, it's the greatest of all time. And I said, oh, so I had to go back and send him a message and tell him, thank you, but you do I learned from everybody. Everybody has something to offer.
And I have to tell you, I saw that shirt and I bought it for my son and his ex-girlfriend. And I was like, oh, I just love the colors. I just love the colors of this shirt. And it's got like 4 letters, and that's it. And when I bought it, he's like, oh, this is awesome, Mom. And I was like, what does it mean? And he said, all you have to do is look at the tag. It says greatest of all times. I was like, oh, I was just looking at how colorful it was.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. But yes, we have so much to learn. Go ahead.
Diversity in your social circle is definitely a strength. When you have various people to draw from, you get so much information. Things that you wouldn't normally learn, you learn. So it's really good to make sure, yes, like she said, I second that. Make sure your circle is wide and diverse, because you learn so many different aspects, you get different perspectives, and it helps you in the long run. Maybe not in this situation, but maybe in the future. Yes. You can pull on something you've learned from those who are in your circle.
I love it. So I'm going to switch gears because, I love going against the grain. I really do. And I want to keep this interesting. I want to keep it real. So not only as women are we focused on our career and the empty nest, but I have to tell you, divorce, marriage, dating, yes, see right there. It's not the beginning. I mean, it's not the end, but sometimes it's the beginning. I've been, and I'm only saying this because to my listeners, I've been married several times and divorced several times. And I've only dated a few men, and they weren't promising. But, at the end of those relationships, you just feel like, oh, it's over. And is it ever am I going to get married again? Am I going to date? Am I going to find a guy? You know, and sadly, I talked to my girlfriends and they're like, girl, your list is too long. You need to have 4 things on there that you're looking for. And I'm like, no, I got like 48. So, and then like, you looking for a perfect man? I said, no, he doesn't have to be perfect. Like that list sounds like it.
I think about just building him, right? I just think about building him. I want to take this from Ted and this from Alfred and this from Ralph and this from Greg and and make my own man and I know that doesn't exist and I know I'm not perfect. And so as people, I was listening to this other podcast the other day, and what the gentleman was saying is that as we're in relationships, they're a mirror to us, right? They reflect, and then we can see areas where we need to grow within the relationship, right? Because that thing that you do when you by yourself, it don't bother you, right? But when you're in a relationship, they be like, can you stop? And you have to really think about, oh, okay, that's an area where I need to learn and to grow, right? And then, sometimes you ask yourself, well, is it that bad? Because he does. But you know what I've learned is we can't worry about what we need. I want to be better, right?
Right.
I want to be better, but the relationship certainly will teach us where we need to grow.
Well, I need a whole field to plant all my roots at, because
right. Right.
Waconda, what are your thoughts on this?
Girl, that's a big topic. And it definitely warrants some discussion. But when you're looking for a mate, yes, you want this laundry list of things. You're like, this would be perfect for me. But in hindsight, looking back at past relationships, you think, well, I wanted that, but that's not necessarily what I needed. And so once you begin a relationship, I think you need to give it some space so you can understand really what you need from him and what you want him to give you. So I think, giving it a little time, it doesn't always work out like we wanted to, but sometimes we're pleasantly surprised, because I can say that in all of my past relationships, there was something good in it. There was something I really enjoyed. And so taking those moments away, barring the bad, and just saying, hey, in this moment, I was happy. And so understanding what that felt like for you and how you got there in that space, you can begin to look for people who fulfill those joyful moments in your past relationships, and you build on it from there. Nothing cures that but time. You need time in a relationship to weigh good and bad and then move forward from there.
I think I'm gonna have to build my Frankenstein. And I said I was gonna write a book about that, because you're right.
Here, let you hear.
Yes, you like the personality of this person and the personality of this person and the mannerism and the chivalry and the gifts and the kind words and the foot massages. You've got all these culminations of things that just, gosh, make your heart melt. What I'm going to do is we're going to log off and log back in, because we've got 3 minutes left.
Sounds good.
So I'll see you in a few seconds.
All right.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.